of the meeting. Welcome to the October 21st, 2024 Operations and Safety Committee meeting. I am Melanie Williams, Chair of the Operations and Safety Committee meeting. The meeting format is hybrid. Quorum is physically present at the HART Administration Office, 1201 East 7th Avenue, Florida Conference Room, and the rest of the board members are participating via communication media technology. Please look at the screens of your devices, and an image of the flag is displayed. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Jackson, would you please take roll? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Committee Member Henderson? Committee Member King?
Present.
Committee Member Knight?
Present.
Committee Member Schisler?
Here.
Committee Chair Williams?
Here.
You do have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next agenda item is public comment. There was no one pre-registered to speak. Is there anyone present in the audience this morning for public comment or online? Okay. Seeing none, this concludes the public input section of the meeting. We're going to move to the approval of meeting minutes. In the packet are the minutes from August 19th, 2024 Operations and Safety Committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Moving on to our committee action items with presentation. Recommend 4A, recommend the HART Board of Directors approve a HART Title VI program, update to submit to the Federal Transition Administration. Mr. Dreamville, you are recognized to provide an overview of the item and introduce the presentation.
Thank you, Chair. So the current HART Title VI program expires on December 6, 2024, and requires that it be approved by the grantee's Board of Directors. This is a standard update required every 3 years. Mr. Matthew Whitesides, Business Ethics and Compliance Officer, will present. You are recognized.
Thank you.
Sorry. Good morning. My name is Matthew Whitesides. I'm the Business Ethics and Compliance Officer, which also includes the EEO and Title VI Officer for HART. And I'm going to present the Title VI program update today. I'm going to define what the Title VI is. I'm going to cover public notice and complaints, the public participation plan, the language assistance program, our service standards and policies, and then finally our demographics and service profile. What is Title VI? Title VI refers to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. No person in the United States shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Also, under the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 49, Part 21, equity and non-discrimination is required under the Department of Transportation. Here's an example of our public notice and complaint information. We provide a public notice showing that HART operates our services and programs without regard to race, color, and national origin. Notices are posted on our website at gohart.org, at our transit centers, our transfer centers, all work locations, our route schedules, in our route schedule book, and on all our buses, vans, and streetcars. Complaint forms are also available on gohart.org, at our transit center customer service windows, and all HART work locations. Complaints may be filed directly with the FTA from the instructions on the notice or sent to me directly as the Title VI contact. The goal of our public participation plan is to offer meaningful opportunities for all interested parties or members of the public to comment about HART and its operations. The objectives are to offer clear and relevant information on our public outreach, to provide diversity and inclusion, provide accessibility to transportation and meetings, and to respond fully and promptly to public comments and concerns. The Language Assistance Plan is an integral part of our plan, our program update. Consistent with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Department of Transportation's implementing regulations and Executive Order 13166, improving access to services for persons with limited English proficiency, or LEP. HART developed its Language Assistance Plan to ensure that all members of the public, including those persons who do not speak English as their primary language and who have limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English, have access to HART program services and written documents. And you can see the map on the right in different shades. The darker shades are the higher density of the non-English speaking population. We also have a third-party service that can do translations into other languages. All right, our service standards and policies. Service standards are meant to ensure all passengers are provided high-quality and comfortable service, regardless of route, geographic location, or rider demographics. Service and fare equity policies ensure that any changes to service or fares do not disproportionately affect minority or low-income populations. And our buses are randomly assigned to routes in all areas of the county to provide equity across the service area. One example of a service standard is the headway standard. This map shows the headway that is currently provided on all our routes. The headway standard is the frequency of buses or vehicles stopping at the same location on the same route or line. And on to our demographics and service profile. This was from the HART Bus Customer Satisfaction Survey back in June earlier this year. And it was English and Spanish versions that were provided. Note that 54% of Hillsborough County is part of a minority population, while the same metric is 58% for HART's service area. And 54% of respondents to HART's rider survey identify as a minority. Lastly, 13% of Hillsborough County is below the poverty line, while that same metric for HART's service area is 16%. Also, 54% of survey respondents have a household income of less than $50,000, which is not enough to determine poverty status, but does provide some context. And I just want to mention that the program update is rather lengthy. It's over 300 pages, but the body of the text is roughly 50. The rest of it is appendices and supporting documentation, maps, and so forth. With this action item, HART is recommending the HART Board of Directors approve the HART Title VI program update to submit to the FTA. And that's it for me, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. Any questions from our members, committee members? Do we have a second? Bless you. Thank you. Director Knight is the first motion and second by Director Schisler. Thanks. Do you take roll at this point or on this one?
You can do I can do a roll call vote, or you can do an all in favor, whichever you prefer,
Okay,
Chair.
I'll do all in favor.
Aye.
Thank you, so moved. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Mr. Whiteside, sorry.
You look at the whole report?
300 pages. Moving on to 4B, recommend the HART Board of Directors approve the HART Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan and authorize the submittal of its certification to the Florida Department of Transportation. The final action is a committee action item with a presentation, and we will hand it off to you, Mr. Drainville, to introduce the speaker.
Thank you. So the Federal Code of Regulations 49, Part 673 and 674, and FDOT State Safety Oversight Plan requires operators of public transit systems that receive FTE funds to develop and implement PTASP. The PTASP is renewed annually by this committee and approved by the board. Mr. Richard Campbell, Chief of Safety, will present.
Thank you. Richard Campbell, Chief Safety Officer, Chair, Directors, Mr. Drainville. Apologize. So, absolutely, the FTA requires that any public transit agency receiving public funds develop a PTASP. That PTASP is to ensure the safety and uses the federal government to aid and guidance in those safety regulations. Part of those safety regulations require the agency to implement SMS, Safety Management System, and these are all part of the protocols in developing a PTASP. The FTA requires that we have developed the PTAS and update it every year by December. So we develop that. Every year we just review it. So my team, we develop any changes, implement any changes. This year we had to implement a change to the electronics policy. And so we review that. That goes to committee, our Health and Joint Safety Committee. That is comprised of half of labor, between the ATU and the Teamsters, and the other half of management. Once that is approved, then we move forward, bring it to management approval, we send it to FDOT, FDOT gives a conditional approval, then we bring it to the committee. Once we bring it to committee with committee's approval, then it moves to the full board. In this action committee, I'm requesting the committee to approve the PTAS for this year.
Members? Okay, thank you. Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you.
But next, we're moving to the presentation stage, and we will receive an update on the Hurricane Milton preparedness overview. Mr. McCarthy is going to provide the information for this presentation. You are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Mr. Drainville. So as you can imagine, it's been a very active month for all of us here at HART and those in Hillsborough County. So I want to just give a kind of an overview of what has been taking place at HART over that time. So whenever we start on one of these major emergencies, we have three primary objectives that we want to achieve. First is we want to play our role in supporting the citizens of Hillsborough County and playing our role in a county-wide response. We want to protect and keep our employees safe and informed. And we also want to protect our assets, both our physical assets and our rolling stock. And I'm very proud and happy to report that under the CEO's leadership, we were able to achieve all three of those objectives during both of these really borderline historic events in Hillsborough County. So this program goes over our operational preparedness and time points, how we prepared our facilities and our fleet, what we did to communicate with our employees, what we did while the storm was actually happening, and then our recovery and service restoration. So again, coming on the heels of Hurricane Helene, our preparation for this storm began very early as Sunday, October 6th, when we first met as an executive committee. We had 13 subsequent meetings with the executive team, and also in coordination with Hillsborough County. We discussed supporting evacuations, monitoring landfall, predictions to maintain service as long as possible, and then most importantly, our decision to suspend service and then our decision to restore service. You know, it bears mentioning that this entire process is very, very fluid, and in some ways, we're not necessarily the masters of our own domain. in that we have to really be prepared to react to what the county wants to do. You know, whether it's evacuees or special needs folks or whatever it may be. HART always has to maintain a real agility and nimbleness to be able to perform our role. And again, we did that very well. Our communication strategy came directly from the county. We had representatives in the county EOC throughout the entire emergency. I'd like to give kudos to the gentleman sitting to my right, who represented HART at the Hillsborough County EOC. If you've ever been in an EOC, there's a lot of badges, a lot of saluting, a lot of egos. So it really takes somebody with a special kind of personality to, they want everything from you. They don't really want to give you that much. So Richard did a tremendous job during this emergency representing HART. So I just want to recognize him. Employee communication through all the various mediums, customer communication, through social media. We gave out, I think, 3 to 4 advisories per day, both to the county and to the internal workforce, letting them know what HART was doing. Always is a main point of emphasis to let the employees know as early and as often as possible what our plans are. Because it obviously has an effect on them. So just some of the preparedness time points. So on Sunday, Hillsborough County EOC activated. They had 1 voluntary evacuation site opened up at Middleton High School. HART offered free fare on the Route 12 to bring people to that location. On Monday, monitoring service obviously, but we ran a regular service day on Monday. Beginning at 2 p.m. that day, the CEO implemented fare-free for those going to evacuation locations. We announced that we were going to be running an emergency schedule for Tuesday, October 8th, in which case originally we thought we were going to be stopping service at 12 noon. And this is just another example of our ability to kind of react to what the county needs based on what's gone out there. The storm didn't come in quite as quickly as we thought, so the sun was out and, people were going to the shelters later than perhaps, the emergency folks wanted them to. So we extended our service day to 8 p.m., which is, appreciated by the county. On Wednesday and Thursday, obviously, there was no service. We're in a monitoring mode. Everything was put away. In terms of our fleet, on Monday, we moved 50 of our paratransit vans to higher elevation at the University of Southern Florida. We had 70 buses serviced and standing by here at HART, 21 East 21st Avenue, ready for service. And the remaining fleet on property configured in a U formation, and that helps protect the assets against the wind. On Tuesday, we moved 33 buses to high elevation at Hidden River. All streetcars and service vehicles were secured here at Ybor. On the facility side, we activated on October 7th, activated our facilities emergency response team to prepare HART for the storm, cleared grounds of tree debris prior to the storm to prevent any potential flooding, equipment secured to prevent potential projectiles, generators tested, entrances stocked with sandbags. On October 9th, we prepared all sites, administrative sites for shutdown, secured all elevators, shut off all non-essential electrical circuits. And after vehicles were serviced, the fuel lane, unleaded tank, diesel tanks, and CNG station were shut down to prevent any potential damage incurred by the storm. Our communication summary was initially we started out on Monday the 6th, just giving general safety information to the workforce and the public. On October 7th and 8th, we reported service change and time adjustments that go along with our reduction in service to emergency service. On October 8th, again, we extended our operations longer than original in coordination with Hillsborough County EOC. On 8th and 9th, we gave updates through social media and through internal emails and so forth, letting people know what was happening with the storm. And then on October 10th, we did damage assessment and prepared for service restoration, reporting instructions for the staff, etc. recovery of service. On Friday, October 11th, we inspected all HART facilities, bus stops, et cetera, looking for damage, verifying that we had utility power and IT connectivity, making sure all entrances were clear of debris. We opened up the 21st Avenue fuel lane, diesel tanks, and CNG station to begin to prepare the fleet for service. We also began cleaning up tree limbs and site debris at all sites and all locations. We resumed streetcar service at noon. As far as our role in the post-recovery, we assisted with transportation from homes and shelters. We provided fare-free service across HART, which is through today, October 21st. So just to conclude, in the aftermath of the storm, I think it highlights yet another example of HART's criticality to our community. HART's role goes far, far beyond just what we provide every day, to our community in terms of bus trips and para trips. It's really during emergencies like this where we shine and we really show how valuable we are to the community. We're especially thankful for the responsibility that our employees assume when they take on frontline roles within this organization. It's a tremendous sacrifice. In many ways, they put the community even before their own family. And I think they certainly need to be recognized for that. And we appreciate their role in ensuring a swift and safe recovery for the community. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from our comments?
Your mic, Committee Chair.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the update. Very well. Presentation there, like that. Thank you.
Director King.
Likewise, I don't have a question, but job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Drainville.
And I would just want to take this time to recognize all the employees at HART, because as Sean said, it is a fluid situation, and I get calls, 3, 4 calls an hour, and I'm calling them, and I'm changing plans. So I want to thank the team for dealing with everything going on and the quick changes, and they did a fantastic job. So I want to recognize all the employees at HART. So
Thank you. I'd also like to recognize the employees. I saw communication, a large amount of communication when things were changing. The notification was there. And so I appreciate your plan and the contingencies that took place as a result of some of the moves with the vehicles. Also, Mr. Campbell, you received additional recognition, so I'd like to echo those sentiments as well.
Thank you. It's definitely a team effort.
Thank you.
Also, an observation, throughout this county, never seen the amount of trees, the detours and everything, and I happen to be out there seeing a lot of the drivers and the coordination of, the HART staff and management, making the changes. But, you go a block or two and you had to go through another street or directly, but to keep things going and even offering free to help the ones who needed it, we really appreciate that, and thanking everybody as well. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, any other comments or questions? If not, we'll move on to information items. In your packet, under the information item is an update on heavy maintenance facility, which is shared with the committee and the board on a monthly basis. Also, there is a comprehensive operations analysis update that Mr. Justin Willis, Director of Planning and Scheduling, will speak on. Mr. Willis, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, not morning. Justin Willits, Director of Planning and Scheduling, and I'm just going to read off this update about the comprehensive operations analysis. This was presented at the July 15th board to authorize WSP to exceed a contract for $450,000. The COA was one of several recommendations from the HART Governance and Operational Management Analysis completed by FDOT. The COA is a comprehensive assessment of the transit system, including potential route changes, to improve the efficiency and coverage, identification of existing and future transit needs, development of future transit service plans, and estimation of future operating and capital costs. The due date on the COA will be December 31st of 2025. Since the award of this task order, WSP has met with the planning team for a formal kickoff and to discuss the project timeline, goals and objectives, and data needed to complete the analysis. The COA is currently under Phase 1, System Performance and Market Analysis, to be completed by the end of fall 2024. And we actually invited the consultants in for our 30-day post-markup listening sessions to capture the feedback from operators to incorporate in their kind of analysis and early understanding of some of the issues that we deal with from markup to markup, from day to day, to really kind of get their feet wet and see what we've got going on. Phase 2, development and analysis, will be completed by the end of spring in 2025, and Phase 3, implementation plan for service changes. The completion date for that is planned for the end of fall of next year. I've printed out a timeline here. I'm happy to share with you all if you're interested, but other than that, that completes my item. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Thank you again, Mr. Willis. I'm moving to old business. Is there any old business? Any new business? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Have a good week.